Hello and welcome to the Good Morning Seniors YouTube channel. Today we're doing one of our deep dives, cutting straight through the noise for all of you out there actively, building vitality and independence in these golden years.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah.
We know that for our listeners, especially those of you over 60, the small choices you make, particularly in that first hour of the day, they have a huge impact. Longevity is really forged in those consistent, positive habits, not necessarily grand gestures.
Absolutely. And we've gathered quite a bit of research, physiological studies, expert advice to really dig into 5 specific morning habits that longevity experts are pretty insistent you should, probably abandon. Today's topic is over 60. Avoid these 5 morning habits. Our goal here is to show you how making just subtle tweaks can genuinely boost your mood, help maintain muscle health, and importantly, support your independence.
Right. And the core idea really driving this analysis is that as we age, our bodies and our minds, they just handle things differently. Stimuli, recovery, it all changes.
Yeah.
Routines that might have been perfectly fine, decades ago.
Yeah.
They can now actively work against your natural processes. So we need habits that support hormonal balance, keep those energy reserves up, and crucially, mitigate some of the increasing risks that come with aging.
Like fall risks, maybe,
Yeah.
and cognitive stuff.
Exactly. Fall risks and cognitive decline are big ones. So consistency becomes vital.
Okay, so we're going to dissect 5 main culprits today. And for each one, we won't just say, don't do this. We'll explore the physiological reasons it's maybe riskier now.
And then offer practical stops, things you can actually start doing maybe even tomorrow morning. Motivational stuff too.
Perfect. Let's dive right in with the first habit. I think this one's a real enemy for a lot of people trying to get a sharp start to the day.
The snooze button.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this one. That cycle of hitting snooze, just 5 more minutes, it feels so good in the moment, doesn't it?
It does. It feels comforting.
But why is this seemingly harmless action actually, counterproductive? And maybe even a bit hazardous, especially if you're over 60.
Well, it's a direct threat to getting good quality sleep. See, your sleep cycles are these tightly regulated biological processes. When your alarm first goes off, even if you feel tired, your brain is already starting that transition to wakefulness.
Okay.
But hitting snooze, you basically trick your brain. You signal it to start a new but very shallow sleep cycle.
So it's not real rest we're getting in those extra minutes.
Yeah.
It's just fragmented sleep, like junk sleep.
Precisely. You could call it that junk sleep. The real damage happens because you stop your body from reaching or finishing those really restorative phases, especially REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep.
And REM is the important one for memory and mood.
Exactly. REM is crucial for cognitive function. It's when your brain consolidates memories, processes emotions from the day before, and basically gets ready for problem solving. Fragmented REM leaves you with what's called sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia, that deep grogginess, right? The kind that feels like it lasts for hours.
That's the one. It can genuinely impair you for a good chunk of the morning.
Yeah.
But beyond just feeling groggy, there's the physiological stress aspect.
Right, you mentioned that. How does hitting snooze repeatedly affect our stress hormones, like cortisol?
Well, your body interprets that loud alarm sound as an acute stressor. It's like a mini emergency signal.
Okay.
So each time it rings, it triggers a release of cortisol, our main stress hormone. It's a survival thing, fundamentally. But if you hit snooze and it goes off again 8 or 10 minutes later,
You get another cortisol spike.
you get another one and maybe another one after that. You're essentially triggering multiple cortisol surges before your day has even properly started.
Wow. So you're basically starting the day already in a state of low-level chronic stress. I can see how that could build up and impact heart health over time.
It absolutely can. Chronic elevated cortisol, even these morning spikes, contributes to systemic inflammation. It can affect insulin resistance. And for seniors, this is critical. It contributes to vascular stiffening, hardening of the arteries.
Which makes things like high blood pressure worse.
Definitely. It can worsen hypertension and make anxiety feel much harder to manage. But maybe the most immediate acute danger, especially for older adults, is the increased fall risk.
Okay, let's dig into that fall risk connection. Why is the grogginess from snoozing more dangerous in that respect than just feeling a bit tired?
It comes down to your vestibular function, your sense of balance and coordination. When you wake up suddenly from that fragmented, junky sleep, your coordination is temporarily off kilter.
Right.
For a younger person, maybe that's just annoying, you stumble a bit. But for someone over 60 who might already have some age-related muscle weakness, sarcopenia, or maybe slightly slower reflexes,
That moment of dizziness could be really bad.
it could be catastrophic. That
Yeah.
momentary poor balance when you first stand up, That's when falls often happen. And considering that our internal clocks, our circadian rhythms, naturally become a bit less robust as we age.
Consistency becomes even more important.
Paramount. Consistent wake times are absolutely key for maintaining physical stability and mental alertness in the morning. Snoozing just throws a wrench right into that stability.
Okay, so ditching the snooze button. The upside sounds huge. It's not just about feeling less groggy, it's about like reclaiming your brain function for the day.
It really is about cognitive enhancement. When you stick to a consistent single wake-up time, you let your natural hormone systems follow their intended rhythm. That leads to sharper focus, better memory consolidation from the night before.
And fewer of those mid-morning energy crashes.
Significantly fewer. Plus, keeping those cortisol levels more stable doesn't just help your heart. It supports your immune system, too. Chronic stress is known to suppress immunity.
Right, makes sense. Okay, so practically speaking, how do we tackle this? It sounds great in theory, but that button is tempting.
Motivation needs a physical nudge, I think. The classic tip really is the best. Put the alarm clock across the room.
Forces you to actually get up.
Exactly. It forces movement, which immediately helps break that urge to crawl back into bed. Another thing I suggest is tracking your energy levels. Maybe keep a simple journal for a week.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just note down how much more alert or productive you feel on days you don't snooze versus days you do. Seeing that improvement written down can be a really powerful motivator. Self-reinforcement.
And ensuring you're aiming for enough sleep overall, right? Like 7 to 9 hours.
Absolutely fundamental. You can't cheat sleep debt easily.
Okay, so for better swaps, maybe making the wake-up call less jarring.
Yes, that helps ease the transition. Instead of a loud, blaring alarm, consider a gentle one. Maybe one that uses light. Those sunrise simulator alarms gradually brighten the room.
Mimicking dawn. The body probably responds better to light than sound.
Much better. And another tip, immediate hydration. Before you even take that step across the room to turn off the alarm.
Have water ready.
Keep a glass or even a small thermos of water right by the bed. Take a sip immediately upon waking. It helps rehydrate you after hours without fluids, gives a little natural alertness boost, and kind of counteracts that pull back to the pillow.
I like that. And maybe a mental trigger too. Instead of dreading the alarm sound, use that moment to quickly think of, say, 3 things you're grateful for or looking forward to that day.
That's a great idea. Setting a positive mental tone right away prepares you proactively.
We've seen these strategies work wonders. I remember reading about Eleanor, 68, up in Seattle. She said she was chronically foggy, really struggled with motivation in the mornings. Her doctor specifically pointed out the fall risk data for older adults waking from that kind of fragmented sleep, said it could increase morning dizziness likelihood by something like 30%.
Wow, that's specific.
Yeah.
And probably scary enough to motivate change.
It was the jolt she needed. She ditched snooze cold turkey. And crucially, she replaced that snooze time with just 5 minutes of gentle yoga stretches right beside her bed.
Smart swap.
She reported feeling dramatically sharper, said her recall improved noticeably during her weekly book club meetings. Apparently, she even started motivating her friends there in the Pacific Northwest to change their morning routines, too.
That's fantastic. And then there was Robert, 72, down in Austin, Texas. He found that after he retired, the snooze button became this gateway to just inertia. Lazy days, feeling purposeless.
And he gained weight.
Yeah, about 15 pounds, he said. And his blood pressure started creeping up. Initially, he resisted changing, saying, I've earned my rest.
I can understand that feeling.
But when he directly linked the snoozing habit to his rising blood pressure numbers, that flipped the switch. He changed his alarm to a calmer birdsong sound.
Nice.
Got up immediately and just went for a 15-minute walk outside first thing. The results were pretty striking. Lost the weight, blood pressure normalized.
And his energy levels.
Huge improvement. He started hosting these lively family brunches again. He credits that simple act of getting up and moving first thing with giving him the momentum to restart his active life. The difference could be really profound. Okay, so if the snooze button delivers a sort of physical shock to the system, our second habit is more of a cognitive shock.
The phone. Checking it immediately upon waking up, right? Scrolling through emails, social media, maybe stressful news headlines while still lying in bed.
Exactly. This has become almost universal, it feels like, across all ages. But it's particularly harmful for the aging brain, for a few key reasons.
Why is that? What's the specific impact?
Well, it's that instant flood of information. The sudden demand to process work emails, react to social media posts, absorb potentially negative or complex news, it forces your brain straight into a high anxiety state.
Before you're even fully awake.
Right. We sometimes call it preemptive stress. You're spiking your cortisol levels again, but this time it's driven purely by psychological input, by information overload.
And we just talked about how bad those repeated cortisol spikes are, especially for cardiovascular health. Starting the day with that kind of stressor before life even demands it, it seems completely counterproductive to feeling calm and healthy.
It really is. It basically throws your nervous system into overdrive right away. Your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, gets activated. For older adults, starting the day in this reactive mode can worsen cognitive fog, make you feel more irritable or anxious throughout the morning, and definitely impairs the focus you need for daily tasks.
And you mentioned earlier that seniors might be more vulnerable to stress-induced issues like hypertension or even depression.
Statistically, yes.
Yeah.
So starting the day absorbing negativity or stress basically undermines your resilience right from the get-go. It sets a reactive rather than proactive tone for the whole day.
Makes perfect sense. The brain just isn't warmed up yet to handle all that complex, often emotional input. What about the physical effects of the phone screen itself, the blue light?
Ah, yes, the blue light component is also critical here. Even just a few minutes of staring at that bright screen right after waking can disrupt the final clearing stages of melatonin in your system.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Right. That process of melatonin clearing out naturally becomes a bit less efficient as we age anyway. Interrupting it further with blue light interferes with the consolidation of your sleep-wake cycle.
So it makes it harder to fall asleep well that night, creating a bad cycle.
Exactly. It can become a self-perpetuating cycle of poor sleep quality, leading to morning grogginess, which then makes you reach for the phone. You see how it goes?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so avoiding this habit, the immediate benefit seems to be just starting the day with more peace, creating a calmer, more serene beginning.
Absolutely. The immediate payoff is reduced anxiety. You might even notice a calmer heart rate, less overall tension, but the longer-term benefit is really cognitive.
How so?
When you allow your brain to wake up gently, without that immediate information assault, your memory works better, your decision-making is clearer, your executive functions planning, organizing there significantly enhanced throughout the day. You start proactive, not reactive.
And we shouldn't ignore the simple physical comfort factor either, right? Less screen time first thing probably means less eye strain.
Definitely. Less eye strain, fewer issues with dry eyes, maybe fewer of those tension headaches that can sometimes stem from staring at screens. These are often overlooked discomforts, especially later in life. The ultimate reward, as many people report when they make this change, is feeling more present, more mindful, and actually getting more satisfaction out of life.
Okay, so how do we break this habit? It feels almost automatic for so many people.
It requires setting clear boundaries and, crucially, physical separation. The strongest recommendation is charge your phone outside the bedroom.
Ooh, that's a tough one for some. What if they use it as their alarm?
Buy a cheap, simple alarm clock. They still exist. The goal is to remove the physical temptation entirely. Make it inconvenient to reach for it first thing.
Okay, remove the temptation and then set a time boundary.
Yes, define a specific phone time for yourself. Maybe decide you won't check emails or social media until after you've had breakfast, or maybe even wait until, say, 10 a.m. Protect that first hour especially.
And maybe tell family for accountability.
Good idea. Let your family know you're trying to create a screen-free start to your day. Ask them to respect that first hour, perhaps, unless it's urgent. Accountability helps.
So instead of scrolling, what are some good swaps? What can you do in those first few minutes instead?
Think analog. Think centering. 5 minutes of simple seated meditation just focusing on your breath can make a huge difference to your mental state. Or even just putting on some gentle instrumental music.
Analog activities sound grounding. Maybe journaling.
Journaling is excellent. Write down those 3 things you're grateful for, like we mentioned earlier. Or quickly jot down your main intentions for the day. It fosters positivity and primes your brain for focus, not distraction.
Or even simpler, just look out the window.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
5 minutes of nature gazing. Even if it's just watching the clouds or the trees outside your window, it's a simple, grounding ritual before the digital world rushes in. Reciting some empowering affirmations is another good one.
These changes really can be transformative. I read about Sarah, 65, in Chicago. She said her habit of scrolling through intense news headlines first thing literally left her feeling shaky with anxiety.
Oh.
And it was directly aggravating her blood pressure issues, which were already complex to manage.
So what did she do?
She made a strict rule. No screens at all until noon. That's quite extreme, but she needed it. She committed to journaling instead and using that quiet time for simple tasks around the house.
And the result?
She reported a dramatic drop in her general anxiety levels within just 2 weeks. She said starting calm made her feel much more patient and connected when she did her volunteer work at the library. She felt like she'd truly reclaimed the stillness of her mornings.
That's powerful. And then there was Tom, 70, down in Florida. After retiring, checking his phone, first things seemed to worsen his feelings of isolation and depression. It fed into a sense of purposelessness, he felt.
That's tough. How did he break that cycle?
His therapist actually suggested replacing the scrolling time with movement. So Tom swapped checking his social feeds for a 20-minute walk around his neighborhood right after getting up.
Combining ditching the phone with adding some movement. Smart.
Yeah, the fresh air, the light exercise, and helped to regulate his mood hormones. He said he quickly regained energy, felt motivated enough to join a local golf league, and even started mentoring some local youths. He felt the morning walk created the positive momentum that basically saved his sanity and gave him renewed purpose.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit now. We've talked about sleep and mental state, and now let's talk about fuel and function. This next section actually covers 2 related habits, both tied to how we choose or maybe choose not to nourish our bodies at the start of the day. Let's kick off with habit number 3, skipping breakfast.
Right, skipping breakfast. This is a really critical mistake, especially after age 60, and it's directly linked to preserving your mobility and independence. The single biggest risk here is something called sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia, that's the age-related muscle loss, right? Losing strength and mass just because you're getting older.
Exactly. It's the involuntary loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength. And when you skip breakfast, you're essentially prolonging that overnight fasting period.
Okay, and that long fast keeps the body in a state where it's breaking down tissue for energy, including muscle.
Precisely. It's called a catabolic state breaking down rather than an anabolic state building up. And here's the key thing for older adults. Protein synthesis, the process of building muscle, naturally becomes less efficient as we age.
So we need to work harder to maintain muscle.
We do. And to trigger muscle protein synthesis, or MPS, that's the process that repairs and builds muscle, you need a decent dose of protein, particularly early in the day after that fast. This process is regulated by certain pathways in the body, like one called mTOR.
Okay.
If you skip breakfast, you fail to properly activate that mTOR pathway. You're basically starving your muscles of the essential building blocks right when they need them most after the overnight break.
Wow. So that morning protein isn't just food, it's like a protective shield against becoming frail, against losing strength, which helps prevent falls.
It's absolutely essential for that reason. But beyond muscle health, skipping breakfast also messes with your metabolism in other ways.
Like blood sugar.
Big time. It can lead to more dramatic blood sugar swings throughout the day, which is a major risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes. And ironically, skipping breakfast often leads to overcompensating later.
Eating more at lunch or dinner.
Exactly. You get overly hungry, you tend to eat more calories overall, often less healthy choices, which can lead to weight gain. And that extra weight then puts more stress on your joints and your cardiovascular system.
And of course, the brain needs fuel too. Running on empty first thing, that's got to lead to a cognitive dip, right? Less energy, maybe trouble concentrating.
Absolutely. Energy levels plummet. It affects memory recall, concentration, even your mood. Everyday tasks can just feel significantly harder when you haven't fueled your brain and body properly. So to maintain independence and vitality, nourishing the body first thing is crucial.
Okay, the goals are clear then. Protect muscle, stabilize energy, keep focus sharp. But what about the reasons people skip? Lack of appetite in the morning or just feeling rushed? How do we overcome those hurdles?
We have to make it easy and make it routine. Motivational tips often revolve around preparation. If you prep something simple the night before.
Like overnight oats or portioning out some yogurt.
Exactly. Pre-portioned containers of Greek yogurt with some berries, overnight oats, maybe even hard-boiling a couple of eggs. It removes that morning decision fatigue, that feeling of, oh, what am I going to make?
Makes sense. And maybe setting an alarm.
You could. Set an explicit fuel time alarm, maybe 15-20 minutes after your wake-up alarm. Integrate it into your routine, just like brushing your teeth. Make it non-negotiable.
And involving others. Maybe making it a social thing.
That can help too. If you live with a partner or family, making breakfast a shared moment provides structure and accountability. even just sitting down together for 10 minutes.
Okay, so when you do eat breakfast, what should the focus be? You mentioned protein being key for muscle.
Yes, protein is the priority here, especially for triggering that muscle protein synthesis, that MPS pathway we talked about. Ideally, you're aiming for at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in that first meal.
25 to 30 grams. Okay, what does that look like in real food?
Well, think about things like protein smoothies, maybe using Greek yogurt, or a scoop of protein powder blended with berries, maybe some spinach. Or scrambled eggs, 2 or 3 large eggs, get you close, serve with some veggies.
Cottage cheese. Yogurt perfect.
Cottage cheese is great, very high protein. A Greek yogurt parfait with fruit and maybe some high-protein granola or nuts is another excellent option. The goal is maximizing that muscle maintenance signal early in the day.
And while protein is the muscle protector, healthy fats are good too, right? For sustained energy.
Absolutely. Healthy fats are great for satiety and brain health. Something like a slice of whole grain toast topped with mashed avocado and maybe some chia seeds or hemp seeds that gives you good fats and fiber.
Okay, let's talk examples. Linda, 62, from New York. She was a breakfast skipper.
Yes, frequently. And she suffered from those classic mid-morning energy slumps, felt foggy, and had gained some weight. Plus, she had a strong family history of diabetes, which really motivated her to change.
So what did she do? Based on advice about muscle protein synthesis?
She committed to eating 2 eggs every single morning within about 30 minutes of waking up. Just simple scrambled or boiled eggs.
And the effect?
The consistent protein stabilized her blood sugar. She reported a dramatic increase in sustained energy, so much so that she felt able to join a local dance class she'd been wanting to try. And she ended up losing about 10 pounds. She started calling breakfast her power hour for metabolic health.
That's fantastic. And George, 67, in California, he was experiencing fatigue.
Yeah, just general fatigue that seemed to be getting worse. He initially just put it down to getting older.
A common assumption.
But when he started routinely skipping breakfast, it got noticeably worse. Following a nutritionist plan focused on morning fuel, he started having dense smoothies.
What was in them?
Packed with whey protein, spinach, nuts, maybe some fruit. Really nutrient dense. The difference, he said, was almost immediate. He felt stronger, had more stamina. He now hikes regularly and directly attributes his renewed physical capacity to properly fueling his muscles right after that overnight fast. It proved to him that tailored nutrition really can change everything. It's not just getting old.
Okay, that leads us nicely into habit number 4, which is related but slightly different. It's about that classic morning ritual. Grabbing that first cup of coffee before eating anything solid.
Ah, yes, the empty stomach coffee.
Yeah.
That first cup smells so good, feels essential. But why can it be particularly irritating, especially for the aging body?
It seems like just a simple way to jumpstart the day, but I'm guessing it hits the digestive system pretty hard.
It could be a double whammy, really. It's about both acidity and a hormonal spike. First, coffee itself is highly acidic.
Right.
Drinking it on a completely empty stomach allows that acid to directly irritate the stomach lining. This stimulates excess gastric acid production. Now, for older adults who are often more prone to digestive sensitivity anyway.
Things like heartburn, acid reflux, GERD.
Exactly. Conditions like GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, can be significantly worsened. That instant acid hit often leads to heartburn, sometimes nausea, or just general digestive discomfort. Your stomach really benefits from having a buffer first, some solid food.
Okay, that makes sense. And thinking back to our earlier discussion about stress, how does that big hit of caffeine affect cortisol levels, especially right after we naturally wake up?
That's the second part of the whammy. Your body has a natural process called the cortisol awakening response, or CRR. It releases a burst of cortisol in the first 30-60 minutes after waking to help you become alert.
Okay, a natural wake-up signal.
Right, but if you then dump a large dose of caffeine into your system during or right after that natural cortisol peak, especially without food to slow its absorption,
You get an exaggerated spike.
you compound the effect, yes.
Yeah.
You get this exaggerated cortisol spike, which can lead to feeling overly anxious, nervous, that jittery kind of energy.
Followed by the inevitable crash later.
Precisely. It disrupts the smooth, natural regulation of your energy levels throughout the day. It's just not a stable way to start.
And that intense spike, combined with coffee's other properties, does it affect physical comfort too, like joints?
It absolutely can. Remember, caffeine is a diuretic. It makes you pee more, essentially promoting fluid loss.
Right.
Now, if you're already likely a bit dehydrated from sleeping overnight, and many people over 60 are, partly because the sense of thirst can diminish with age, Hitting your system with a diuretic first thing just contributes to further dehydration.
And dehydration is bad for joints.
It's directly counterproductive to joint health. Dehydration can worsen joint stiffness, make muscles more prone to cramping, and just exacerbate general aches and pains. It can make that essential morning movement feel harder than it needs to.
And one more crucial point, medications. Many seniors take medications first thing in the morning. How does coffee interfere?
That's a really critical consideration. The acidity of coffee and how quickly it can move through your digestive system when your stomach is empty can interfere with the proper absorption and therefore the effectiveness of various common morning medications. Things like thyroid medication or osteoporosis drugs often need to be taken on an empty stomach with water only, away from coffee.
So food first provides a protective lining and helps stabilize things for medication timing too.
Yes, eating first provides that buffer, slows down gastric emptying a bit, and generally creates a more stable environment for medication absorption, depending on the specific drug's requirements, of course. Always check with your doctor or pharmacist about timing with food and coffee.
Okay, so the key here seems to be delaying the coffee gratification just a little bit. How do you motivate that shift?
Again, journaling can help. Notice and write down any immediate improvements in digestion. Less heartburn, less discomfort. That positive feedback is motivating. The goal is to make breakfast, then coffee, your non-negotiable morning sequence.
What about swaps, if you really crave that warm drink first thing?
The best initial swap is gentle hydration. Start with a glass of plain water or warm water, maybe with a slice of lemon. This hydrates you, and the lemon water is slightly alkalizing, which can help counteract some of that overnight acidity.
Herbal tea, maybe.
Herbal tea is a great option if you want warmth and flavor without the acid and caffeine hit. Chamomile or peppermint are good soothing choices for the morning.
And I heard you mention bone broth earlier. That sounds interesting.
Yes, especially for seniors focused on muscle and joint health. Swapping that first thing coffee for a warm cup of bone broth can be fantastic. It gives you warmth, electrolytes for hydration, and crucially, it's packed with protein and collagen.
So it supports gut health and joints even before the caffeine comes along.
Exactly. It's a really nourishing way to start before you introduce the potential irritant of coffee. Then enjoy your coffee after breakfast.
Let's look at Mary, 64, from Ohio. She had issues with coffee.
Yes, she suffered for years with really bad coffee-induced heartburn and reflux. It basically ruined her mornings, she said, but she felt she needed the coffee to function.
A common dilemma. What did she change?
She implemented a very simple strategy: eat first. She started having just a small bowl of plain oatmeal, waited about 15 minutes, and then had her usual cup of coffee.
And the difference.
Almost immediate improvement in her digestion. She said the reduced discomfort was amazing, and it allowed her to get out into her garden, which she loves, much earlier in the day without feeling miserable. She basically gained back hours of comfortable, active time.
That's great. And Helen, 69, in Georgia, her issue was anxiety.
Yes, she found that drinking coffee on an empty stomach really spiked her anxiety levels, made her feel jittery and unfocused, which interfered with her concentration during her church volunteer work, something very important to her.
So she didn't give up warm drinks, just the coffee.
Right. She switched to having a cup of mild green tea after she'd eaten her breakfast. It still provided that warm ritual she enjoyed, but without that sharp, anxiety-inducing caffeine hit first thing. She felt much calmer and more focused for her commitments.
All right, that brings us to our fifth and final habit to avoid today. And this one is about inertia. Simply skipping any form of movement. Just jumping straight out of bed and into the day's tasks without any initial physical warm-up or stretching.
This might actually be one of the most dangerous omissions, particularly in terms of immediate physical safety and long-term mobility. There's a physiological reason why we feel stiff in the morning.
Okay.
When we're inactive overnight, especially if we're also a bit dehydrated, which, as we said, is common with age, the synovial fluid in our joints tends to thicken slightly.
Synovial fluid. That's the natural lubricant in our joints, right? Like oil in an engine.
Exactly. Think of it like engine oil that gets a bit sludgy when it's cold and hasn't been circulating. This thickening overnight is a major contributor to that morning joint stiffness and pain.
Ah, that explains why everything feels so creaky first thing. We're trying to operate with thickened joint oil.
That's a good analogy. And this overnight thickening directly increases joint stiffness, makes pain worse, and can definitely exacerbate conditions like arthritis. Now, since flexibility and overall range of motion naturally tend to decline with age anyway,
Skipping morning movement just reinforces that stiffness. locks it in.
It essentially does. You're setting yourself up for an increased risk of musculoskeletal discomfort or even injury throughout the day because you haven't properly prepared your joints and muscles for activity.
And that stiffness, that potential for injury,
Yeah.
it leads right back to the big safety concern, fall risk.
The connection is direct and incredibly important. That morning stiffness, combined perhaps with some muscle weakness and maybe slightly compromised proprioception.
Proprioception, that's our body's sense of where it is in space.
Yes. All those factors together significantly increase instability, especially in those first movements of the day. It just raises the probability of a trip, a stumble, a fall during totally routine tasks like getting out of bed, walking to the bathroom, navigating a step, or even just stepping over a rug.
And beyond the immediate fall risk, skipping morning movement just reinforces being sedentary overall, doesn't it?
It absolutely contributes to sedentary patterns. And we know that leads to higher odds of serious issues like heart disease, diabetes, and it also accelerates that muscle loss, sarcopenia we talked about earlier.
So that little bit of morning movement isn't just about feeling less stiff. It's crucial for lubricating the joints, thinning out that synovial fluid, and maintaining the range of motion you need to live an independent, active life.
Precisely. The benefits are both immediate and cumulative over time. You get reduced stiffness right away, meaning less pain and freer movement for your daily tasks.
And endorphins, a mood boost.
Yes. Gentle movement releases endorphins, which can combat that morning grogginess or low mood. And crucially, it helps preserve muscle mass, fighting sarcopenia, and supports the balance you need to navigate your environment confidently and safely.
Now, when we say morning movement, people might picture an intense workout. But that's not really what we're talking about here, is it?
Not at all, especially not first thing. We're talking about gentle, accessible, preparatory movement. The motivational key here is to start incredibly small. Don't overwhelm yourself.
Like just 5 minutes.
Exactly. Commit to just 5 minutes to begin with, make it easy. And maybe pair it with a reward you enjoy, like you get your first cup of coffee, or you turn on your favorite radio show, but only after you've done your 5 minutes of movement.
Linking it to something positive, and maybe tracking the benefits again.
Yes, track the difference. Notice how much easier it feels to bend down or reach for something on a high shelf later that day. Using less pain or easier movement as your incentive is really powerful.
Okay, so what are some good swaps? What kind of gentle movements are best? Can you start even before getting out of bed?
Absolutely. Some of the best moves can happen before your feet even hit the floor. While still lying down, just do some simple ankle circles, both directions. Flex and point your feet, do some wrist rotations, gently stretch your arms overhead, just waking up the joints gradually.
Simple range of motion stuff.
Exactly. Then, once you're sitting or standing, focus on low-impact options. Chair yoga is fantastic. You can find lots of guided sessions online specifically for seniors. It builds strength and flexibility safely.
What about Tai Chi? I hear that's great for balance.
We highly recommend Tai Chi. Its slow-flowing, deliberate movements are scientifically proven to significantly improve balance and coordination, which is just non-negotiable for serious fall prevention as we age.
And even simpler, just walking.
Even just walking in place gently for a few minutes while the kettle boils, or doing some gentle marching steps, anything that gets the blood flowing and starts that joint lubrication process safely is beneficial.
Let's look at Joan, 66, living in Arizona. Her morning stiffness was really impacting her life.
It was. It got so severe she'd almost given up her passion, which was hiking the beautiful desert trails near her home. She said every morning felt like this huge battle just to get moving comfortably.
So what did she implement?
She started a consistent 10-minute routine. Just some targeted stretches focusing on her hips and legs, and some gentle joint mobilization exercises every single morning without fail.
And the result for her hiking?
Her mobility improved so dramatically that she was back tackling her favorite mountain trails within a few months. She reported not just feeling physically better in her joints, but mentally clearer, too. She actually wrote something like, "Mornings move me now. The difference in my joints is like night and day."
That's wonderful. And Frank, 71, from Massachusetts, he had back pain.
Yes, chronic lower back pain, and it was always dramatically worse first thing in the morning. He described himself stiffly bending over the bathroom sink each day, just trying to get going.
What did he adopt?
He started practicing gentle Tai Chi in his living room every morning. He focused on the movements that encourage core stabilization and fluid motion through the spine and hips.
And it helped his back.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Not only did it ease his morning back pain, but he noticed it dramatically enhanced his physical performance and comfort during his golf games later in the day. He said he learned to sort of flow into the day instead of fighting stiffness. It showed him that gentle, consistent movement is often far more powerful than occasional strenuous exercise, especially for managing chronic pain. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow, okay. That was a really impactful deep dive into essentially how to reclaim what might be the most important part of your day, those first waking moments. Let's quickly recap, just synthesize those 5 critical habits we really need to try and avoid if we want to boost vitality after 60.
Sounds good. So, number 1 was hitting that snooze button. Remember, it fragments your crucial REM sleep, spikes stress hormones like cortisol, and increases fall risks because of that lingering grogginess.
Right. Number 2, checking your phone immediately. That triggers instant anxiety, floods you with cortisol, and sets a reactive tone before your day even properly begins.
Number 3 was skipping breakfast, a big risk for accelerating age-related muscle loss, that's sarcopenia, and it also creates unstable blood sugar levels, impacting energy and long-term health.
Number 4, relatedly, was drinking coffee on an empty stomach. That irritates the aging digestive system, can compound that cortisol stress response, and might even interfere with how well your morning medications work.
And finally, number 5, skipping any initial stretching or movement. This worsens joint stiffness, directly reduces balance, and significantly increases that critical risk of falls, undermining independence.
It's really striking how these 5 seemingly small things are so interconnected and hold such power over our daily energy and long-term health.
They really do. These 5 adjustments hold the key, I believe, to maintaining not just physical energy, but also cognitive sharpness and that all-important physical independence.
And as we heard from the stories, Eleanor, Sarah, Robert, Joan, Frank, making these small but really consistent tweaks can unlock huge reserves of energy, enhance how well your brain works, and reinforce the physical capacity you need, which are really the hallmarks of a fulfilling, joyful, long life.
If you connect it all to the bigger picture, the choices you make in those first 60 minutes, they're really choices for your future autonomy. These habits are foundational. They're about actively protecting your mobility, your cognitive strength for all the years ahead. That daily consistency becomes the legacy you're building for yourself right now.
That's a powerful way to put it. So we want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought, maybe a little provocation or challenge for tomorrow morning. We've covered 5 powerful interconnected habits that can actively sabotage your vitality. Think about them. What is one single tweak? Just pick one to start that you will commit to making tomorrow morning.
Just one change?
Just one change to start your day smarter, healthier, and maybe with a little more joy. Pick that one thing, commit to trying it, and just notice how you feel. See if you can feel the difference.
We really hope this discussion has given you not just the information, but maybe the depth and the motivation you need to make that positive change become a reality for you.
Thank you so much for joining us and participating in this deep dive today. If you found value in our conversation, please do remember to like this video, share it with friends or family who might benefit, and of course, subscribe to the Good Morning Seniors YouTube channel for more content like this.
We appreciate your support.
We look forward to seeing you in the next deep dive.